Hi, everyone. It's time to get started. I hope everyone is doing great. Thank you so much for joining. I have been away getting married and on my honeymoon, so it's great to be back and connect with you all and get back to our webinar series and showcase some different solutions and features and products that are designed really to help businesses. So today's topic is SIP trunking and why is SIP trunking valuable for business? My name is Bree. For those of you that don't know me, I lead up the marketing department here at Team Clearly. I'm going to be your presenter, and joining me a little later on is Tony. He's going to be overseeing the live demo using our SIP trunking store, and he's going to handle some of the questions you might have. Right now, I have everyone muted, but feel free to post any questions in the webinar control panel. We're also recording this webinar for your review later, and the best way truly to keep up with all the comings and goings here at ClearlyIP is on our social media platforms. So I'd love to see you connect with us there. I anticipate today's webinar is going to take about 45 minutes with some Q&A in the end. So not taking up too much time of your busy days. So by the end of the webinar, you should have answers to what exactly is SIP trunking? What is the value for really any size business? Why you should be using SIP trunking within your organization, and how SIP trunking is used with a phone system, with a PBX. So let's dive in. I do want to start with the quick, I see some new names, new faces here today. So those of you who are not familiar with Clearly IP, I want to do a quick, brief introduction to our company. So we are a group of telecom experts, gurus, telephony nerds with over 300 years of combined experience building some of the largest telecom applications in the world. Our team has been very closely associated with the free PBX open source community. Some of our team members are the original collaborators of free PBX. We have offices located in Wisconsin, Vancouver, Montreal, but really we've got our people are located all over the globe, and we really are telecom experts that have a great reputation and are known leaders in selling and developing and pioneering new technologies that we're bringing to the business telecom marketplace. We do support our partner channel in solutions for end users of all size businesses, small, medium, enterprise, even global companies worldwide that are really looking to take advantage of unified communications. And we get really excited about future possibilities and how we can bring them to you. So let's talk now about SIP trunking because it's all the buzz, even more so recently than ever with a lot of changes that are happening in the telecom space. So SIP stands for Session Initiation Protocol. SIP trunking is a method of sending voice and other unified communication services over the internet. So it works with an IP-enabled PBX, private branch exchange, and SIP trunking replaces traditional telephone lines or PRIs, primary rate interface services. And that's what everybody's talking about right now is the end of traditional phone lines like POTS lines and the deadline of that, and all customers now, rushing to implement SIP trunking for those who haven't yet. So before SIP became a popular and reliable method of transmitting our voice signals, telephone calls were primarily carried over the PSTN, Public Switched Telephone Network. There are a lot of acronyms and abbreviations in the telecom industry, so bear with me. So the PSTN is the network of the copper phone lines we traditionally associate with the telephone. So the PSTN is a circuit switched network which requires a physical connection between 2 points to complete your telephone calls. While SIP trunks, they're going to utilize a packet switch network. So we're often asked, what's the difference between POTS and SIP trunking? So plain old telephone services and SIP trunking. So POTS are truly old technology relying on paired copper wires running from your business to the telephone provider, your telco. They generally can't offer the array of features Or if they do, it's going to be at a substantial added cost. You're going to pay for it. They are much more expensive than SIP trunks, and online management tools are primitive if available at all. So SIP trunking, on the other hand, it's a new technology. It offers a lot of flexibility. It includes maintenance. Most functions are included with the base product and don't require additional costs like traditional phone lines do. SIP lines are low cost to set up, super easy to implement. They can be increased or reduced in minutes, so very, very flexible as your needs change. So the old fashioned public switch telephone network, PSTN, with lines are soon going to be of the past. Today's telephony is moving totally away from those traditional connections into the world of flexible and modern SIP trunking. So, as mentioned in one of our recent blogs, actually, a lot of the major telephone providers have already started phasing old POTS lines out, while the USA FCC has actually issued an order 10-72A1 that mandates that all POTS lines in the United States have to be replaced with an alternative service such as SIP fiber wireless by August 2nd of this year. Wow, that's really fast. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to be moving to SIP trunks. So hence the reason for our webinar today. We wanted you to understand the technology and the value it brings to business. So let's talk a little bit about SIP channels. Well, each SIP trunk is going to support SIP channels. So a SIP channel is equivalent to one incoming or outgoing call. A SIP trunk can hold an unlimited number of channels. So users only need one SIP trunk. No matter how many concurrent calls they expect, the number of channels required depends on how many calls the business is going to make at any one time. So I'm going to give you an example of SIP channels and the ROI to shed some light on the cost savings value for businesses. You know, we all understand that cost savings and improved technology is always the top priority for organizations. So using an example of a business with 50 people, let's say 50 extensions and 50 phones, we know traditionally in the past that this customer would typically be proposed a minimum 10 channel PRIT1 service. So that's going to allow 10 simultaneous calls in and out. So for most of the time, a customer is going to peak at 10 simultaneous calls when they have 10 channel PRIT1 service. But there are times that an organization is going to get more than 10 calls. And unfortunately, those callers just simply won't get through. A 10 channel PRI, it can range anywhere from 500 up to 1,000 per month, depending on the term and depending in the area. I know that where I'm from in Vancouver, a 10 channel PRI is typically still around somewhere between the 600 to $650 a month on a 3-year contract range. So taking that 650, you're looking at around 7,800 a year, and that equates to $23,400 over a 3-year term just for the 10 channel PRI. No add-ons of DIDs or long distance or anything above and beyond that. So that's a conservative budget based on that area I mentioned. So let's look at a 3-year SIP trunk contract. We'll use ClearlyIP pricing as the example. So at ClearlyIP for 10 channels would be $17.99 USD a channel, and that's $179.99 a month versus that one or that 650 per month. So the beauty here with SIP trunking and the ClearlyIP platform is you can actually buy those 10 SIP channels you need at that $179.99 per month rate, but then you can also pay per minute when you need to burst up for those peak times when you might get more than 10 calls. So if that 11th call comes in on your system, it's actually going to automatically burst up so you can receive that call. So again, 10 channels at $179.99 per month. Let's add in 5,000 minutes of bursting would be 5,000 minutes times 0.09 cents per minute. That's another $45. So you're looking at $225 a month for 10 SIP trunks with the bursting capability versus that 650 for the PRI per month. So that's a potential of 425 in savings per month. That's over 5 grand per year. and it's actually going to be over 15,000 over that 3-year term. So that's going to give you an example of the value for business just in terms of cost savings. So let's touch a little bit more on that bursting. So with SIP trunks, you can burst off. So if there's at times that your business is getting more calls than normal, a lot of times if you had a PRI, you'd need to add more fixed PRI lines because it isn't as flexible to only burst when you need it to. So the beautiful thing here is if you notice your call volume going up, you can burst up or add another SIP channel altogether within minutes versus having to have a second PRI service with more channels at a substantial increased fixed cost. And don't forget, you would also need the hardware to accommodate that PRI. Plus, SIP will include most of your long distance within a major footprint in North America, and then also super low rates for international calling. So for those of us that grew up only having access to copper lines, this can actually seem like magic. ClearlyIP has a really awesome formula to determine how many channels, aka lines, you need. So if you need help with that, give us a call. You can give us a copy of your current telco bill with all your lines and long distance cost, etc. And we can help you analyze that and determine, what you would need for the equivalent for SIP trunking services. Okay, so what is the difference between SIP and VoIP? Sometimes customers get confused by this. So although SIP and VoIP are often used interchangeably, they're not the same thing. VoIP stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. It is a broad term that covers any phone calls made over the internet. It includes a group of protocol technologies, of which SIP is an example. SIP is one of those specific protocols that enable VoIP. So all SIP is voice, but not all VoIP is SIP. That's a tongue twister there. So we understand now that for the uninitiated, SIP trunks are telephone line trunks that are delivered over an IP network using the SIP protocol. And using this method, telecom service and VoIP providers can connect multiple channels to a customer's PBX. So DIDs, or pronounced DIDs, are direct inward dial numbers, plus phone numbers that can be linked to the same SIP trunk. And numbers can be ported into SIP trunk too. So if you have existing numbers that you're wondering, can they be ported? The answer is absolutely yes. So you can have an unlimited number of phone numbers with SIP trunking versus that PRI service I was talking about earlier. It can only support a certain bank of DIDs or phone numbers. So if you have one SIP trunk, you can literally have an unlimited number of phone numbers. The channels don't matter. You could have 1,000 phone numbers or DIDs on one SIP trunk if you truly wanted. So you can also have an unlimited number of phone numbers uh, geographically with SIP trunking. You have so many benefits here. Let me list a few of them for you shortly, but let's start with some important questions that you should be asking when you are looking or exploring the right SIP trunking provider for your organization. You're going to want to ask them, one, what is the infrastructure and global reach? You want to make sure that whoever your SIP trunking partner is has a global presence, and that your business isn't going to be held back because they're not available in certain areas. Number two, what is the porting process and associated costs for porting your phone numbers? This is really important. You want to make sure that whoever you're partnering with can port your numbers quickly and easily, and they have an organized system and platform to do so, and that they're upfront with what the costs are for porting your phone number so that you don't get, you know, absolutely dinged with the massive bill for porting costs of all your phone numbers. Number three, does the provider support E911 dispatchable locations? This is really important. As number four, you want to make sure your SIP trunking provider is Carey's Law and Raybom Act compliant. If you're looking for more information on this, we had a webinar on this a few months ago. Check it out on our website under webinar, previously recorded webinars, or on our YouTube channel. And we talk a lot about a deep dive into Carey's Law and the Raybom Act. Okay, number five, what is their service and support? Can you call them if you need help? Or are they online chat support only? It's really important that whoever you partner up with for your SIP trunking services, that you can give them a call if you're having an outage, or you need some help fast. And lastly, number 6, does the SIP trunking provider have an admin portal so you can manage your own services? This is really important so that if they have a long hold time, if you're calling in, that you can simply just log into some sort of portal and fire up some new channels or make any changes that you want. Okay, I'm going to touch a little bit on Kerry's Law and the Ray-Baum Act, as I know it's really important for everyone to have somewhat of an idea of what the primary requirements are. They are essentially, there's 3. Number 1, you're going to want to eliminate dialing 9 for your 911 calls. This is really important. So you want to work with a provider that does not require a prefix like 9 when calling 911. Next, you're going to ensure your provider has the ability with emergency notifications to be sent to designated extensions for personnel, alerting them to an emergency. And third, lastly, confirm that the SIP trunk provider can route 911 calls to be transmitted to the appropriate first responder with a dispatchable location. So not all SIP trunking providers are Kerry's Law and Ray-Baum Act compliant, more in the United States than in Canada. And this is absolutely necessary, especially with these given times and remote workers. You're going to want to make sure that your SIP trunking provider is Kerry's Law and Ray-Baum Act compliant. Okay, so let's move into why, the value, and why you should be utilizing SIP trunking for your organization. So we all understand that SIP trunks are telephone lines that are delivered over an IP network using the SIP protocol, and that using this method, telecom providers can connect multiple channels to a customer's PBX. DIDs and phone numbers can be linked to the same SIP trunk, and numbers can be ported into the SIP trunk too. Let's talk about some of the unique benefits over PSTN solutions. So lowered costs, went over that a little bit in that ROI summary. Lower cost for monthly line rental thanks to fewer lines needing to be installed at your office. Lower call charges thanks to the competition in our industry amongst SIP trunk providers. You're going to have better customer service offered through more geographical and international numbers and services. Businesses are going to be able to easily and efficiently add numbers to their SIP solutions and terminate them too if you need to cancel some phone numbers or services. And since customers can contact companies with greater ease here, this can mean that your sales increase too because you can make the changes you need in the time that you need it to be done. SIP trunks aren't bound to a location, which means that you can move offices without having to change your number. This is a big one. Oh, you can eliminate VoIP gateways as all your phone calls arrive via IP. So this means no extra conversion, and it can actually maximize your quality too. Modern IP PBXs and unified communication solutions offer customers enhanced productivity, better sales, improved mobility. Connecting your IP PBX to a SIP trunking solution is far easier than having to connect them to traditional phone lines. It's also easier to include additional channels on your SIP trunk to handle increased calls compared to increasing fixed hard lines. And with SIP trunks, you can select the perfect number of channels for your unique requirements. On the other hand, with ISDN and traditional phone lines, you'd have to choose a specific number of lines, and those were fixed. And unlimited access to global phone numbers for your business and team. So if you have offices or personnel all over the world, or you want to market a local phone number to a specific area or region, you're going to have access to phone numbers anywhere in the world, any place, anytime. So some of the features that make Clearly IP's SIP trunking so reliable and valuable include on-demand SIP trunking. So you can start calling quickly without the complexity of multiple configuration steps or the inconvenience of waiting days for changes to be effective. We offer failover and redundancy. So we can provide failover and redundancy to your trunking to circumvent to the best of our ability PBX network or maybe data center outages. We can talk about this a little bit more later. Self-service. So we offer an extensive dashboard that's going to allow you to manage most aspects of your service, including adding DIDs or call pass users. We offer toll-free voice so that customers can easily add toll-free numbers to your business or port existing numbers to our service to enjoy our low monthly inbound toll-free rates. We do very fast number porting. We know that your existing phone numbers are important to you. We make porting easy. 5 to 7 days is our standard turnaround for porting your existing phone numbers to our SIP trunking platform. We offer international calling, so outbound international service can be added or removed to any account as needed. And we offer seamless E911 integration that provides system integrators and end users compliance and peace of mind with the recently introduced Carey's Law and RABOM Act. So as you can see, there are so many benefits with SIP trunking. Some more here are platform compatibility. So our service will actually work with all major IP PBXs and open source platform. So just about any SIP-enabled device can be configured to work with our services. Again, phone numbers virtually everywhere. So we offer a large database of telephone numbers across rate centers in the United States and in Canada, plus 80 other countries. I'm not sure if you guys were aware of that. 80 other countries, you're going to have access to a large database of phone numbers. You can keep your existing hardware, so connect your existing legacy systems, your PBXs, your ATAs, and even soft phones to SIP trunking. You can have the enjoyment of a tier one redundant network. So our ClearlyIP trunks are backed by a fully geo-redundant infrastructure, providing industry-leading business continuity to your business communications. It's scalable, so you only pay for connections you need without the risk of rejecting calls by enabling our on-demand capacity. So again, if your call volumes increase, you're covered. Your callers are going to get through. And we do offer a free trial so that you don't have to make your decision in a vacuum. Give it a try. See what you think of it. Try before you buy. It's the most proven method for decision making when going to SIP trunks. Okay, so we've addressed how SIP trunking can give you the power to enhance your business experience, and that once you've chosen a provider, hopefully us, you can choose a dedicated internet line for your SIP trunk, so SIP trunks can simply go onto your in-place high-speed connections. Since many firewalls can handle several WAN connections and internet lines are often low cost, it can be recommended at times that a separate VoIP connection is a great way to enhance the quality of your VoIP calls. So this process can keep your voice traffic separated from your data traffic. However, the outcome of your choices will depend largely on the cost of your upgrades and your network infrastructure. So we can help you look at that again and determine the best route. Now remember, you can also upgrade your on-premise phone system, your PBX, to an on-premise IP PBX. So unlike with PSTN lines, which are often connected to hardware-based PBX solutions, an IP PBX can offer you an easy to manage and flexible solution. So if you're not ready to go to the cloud or host a platform which includes SIP trunks for your connectivity, then why not upgrade your services to an on-premise IP PBX? And then you can still leverage the benefits of flexibility and modern refinements that really only IP telephony can offer. Okay, one other question that is often asked is, can I keep my existing phone numbers? The short answer, I know I've already mentioned this, but I really want to hit this hard, is yes, you keep all your existing phone numbers. Let's talk about that process we refer to as number porting. So number porting is the process of taking your existing phone numbers and transferring it to another provider. We love doing this. We're experts at it, so I pride ourselves on that because porting phone numbers and doing an audit of your services and organizing that for a quick process is something we really do specialize in. It is the preparatory work of organizing all your phone bills and all your phone numbers to be ported and all the copies of everything that actually take the most time. But once it's organized, we can submit the port to the new carrier, and once submitted, the porting of the numbers, it's all done in the background between transferring the carrier and the new SIP trunking provider. So if Clearly IP was the new carrier, and let's say, I don't know, AT&T is the old carrier, we would simply submit the porting request to AT&T. It's all done in the background, and all your existing business phone numbers would be ported over to Clearly IP very seamlessly and will work great for you. Another part of our ClearlyIP trunking platform is our fax services. So a lot of people here today I'm sure aren't aware that ClearlyIP has a fax component as part of our trunking. Our fax platform is called sendfax.to. I want to touch on it real quick because it's a great solution that most customers don't realize we offer as part of our enhanced trunking platform. So if you are considering moving to ClearlyIP SIP Trunking, don't forget about the fax component. It's really slick. So I'll give you some examples using our sendfax.to, although there are other e-faxing services available, but we'll use our sendfax.to to illustrate basic principles of e-faxing. So some of the benefits is that if you want to, you could remove your fax machine altogether and still be able to send and receive faxes very easily. You can use inbound fax to email. You can define up to 2 email addresses that are going to be sent that inbound fax on a per phone number per DID basis. We also support outbound email to fax, which allows you to send an email to a fax line. So you can take outbound emails, you send it to the fax number at sendfax.to, and it'll convert to a fax and send to the phone number. Another benefit is rebrandable email alerts and even the sendfax.to domain for our partners. And with sendfax.to, there's no eFax portal. So it relies 100% on email for faxing. We offer fax CDR showing all the sent and received faxes in the store. Hooray! Everyone loves to see that data easily and not have to dig for it. And we offer the ability to set a password that all fax PDFs are encrypted at a per group level, which is pretty cool. So again, inbound faxing, fax to email, the sendfax.to online portal will easily configure inbound email delivery from any fax-enabled T.38 numbers available in most North America regions. And inbound faxes can be delivered up to 2 email addresses. So for example, you could send them to your receptionist or a specific department person to manage and distribute your inbound faxes. Again, outbound faxing as well. You can enable and manage specific email addresses or domains to send faxes using the sendfax.to service. So each fax capable DID on your account can be associated with up to 100 authorized email addresses or email domains. So email addresses can be authorized to send for multiple fax DIDs. When sending a fax by email, users simply specify which fax number to use as the sending address. Suppose users are authorized to use multiple fax numbers. So in that case, our system will allow them to choose which number to send from immediately with a follow-up email, enabling them to select the proper account. So you can also keep your physical fax machine if you want. We support both. If you want kind of a mix of both, you can use your multifunction printers to send and receive faxes. And you don't even need a traditional phone line. We've got this really cool fax device. So if you have an internet connection, you can connect your fax machines to it and you can fax from it without the expensive cost of a fixed phone line for your faxing. So just quick information on some pricing for fax, just to really illustrate how inexpensive this is. If you're moving to SIP trunking and you want to add the fax piece to it, low volume, you're looking at $9.99. This is in US pricing per month. That's going to include about 300 minutes or somewhere around 400 to 450 pages a month of faxing, or you can go with our high volume package, which is $24.99 USD per month. And that's going to give you about 2,000 minutes or 3,000 to 3,500 pages a month for faxing. And we also, of course, offer DIDs in US or Canada, phone numbers specifically to be used for faxing at MSRP $1 per month. And just to let you all know, inbound and outbound email groups are free, no cost. We offer no contracts. It's all month to month. And we do offer discounting for large volume partners and enterprise customers. Okay, so I hope I have made this somewhat simple to understand. Let's talk about the process. You don't need to be a networking or telecommunications expert to take advantage of SIP for your business. Again, we recommend choosing a strong partner like us that's going to really help walk you through the implementation process, and a partner that has an easy, organized, efficient method to get you moved over to SIP trunking. We offer a free trial, so you can fire up that SIP trunk in our store in a matter of seconds. We're going to show you how to do that. It's really as easy as 1, 2, 3, and Tony's going to step in and take you for a live demo in one moment. I just want to mention that we also offer two types of call paths. One that has no per minute charge that you pay by the channel, and the other where you do not pay by the channel, but you just pay by the minute for all inbound, outbound calls. Oh, I guess there is a third. We can offer a hybrid model if you want a combination of both types of call paths on the same location. No problem. You let us know what you're looking for your SIP trunking services. I have no doubt we'll have a solution for you. And our platform is constantly evolving and being enhanced. We send monthly updates to our SIP trunking customers of any new features or functionality and enhancements to make sure you are aware and that you can take advantage of those. We actually have one going out this week, probably tomorrow. So there's no better way than to give it a try, set up that trial, reach out to sales, and you can, get testing a SIP trunk on your existing equipment or platform. And we really feel it'll prove its value in spades after just a couple phone calls. Okay, I'm going to pass things over to Tony now. He's going to show everyone how easy it is to configure and fire up a SIP trunk using our ClearlyIP trunking portal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Give me a second here to get set up. Okay, should be able to see my screen, Bree?
I can.
Perfect. So, I am logged into our trunking portal here. If you don't have login for it, you can create an account on demand. Just when you go to trunking.clearlyip.com, you can create an account. Once you create the account, you have to verify your email address, and then you have to call in on a verification number and verify your business information. Just for regulatory reasons, we have to have communication with a customer before we're allowed to give them service with all the new laws with stir shaking and spam calling and everything else. Once your account is set up, you can come in and just start adding what we call locations. So in our world, a location, easiest way to explain a location is a unique PBX. So I have a bunch of different test locations here, some demo kits, different ones I call. So adding a new location is pretty simple. Under products and services locations, you just hit the add new location button. And we're going to pick the SIP, we want a SIP trunking location. And then we get to pick from the two different call path types. So our subscription call path is where you don't pay by the minute, you pay by the call path. And then our metered is where you don't pay by the call path and you pay by the minute. So if we take, for example, the subscription and we want one of them, so you're allowed one concurrent call. Then we have different plan types. So month to month, 24-month agreement or 36-month. So if we look at a month to month, a subscription call path would be $24.99 for one of them. And that's where you pay by the call path, you don't pay by the minute. If we want two of them, we could put two here, and that would be $49.98. We'll go back to one. You'll notice some substantial discounts if you do a 12 or 36-month agreement. So under 36-month, it goes to $17.99. So $8 off a month per call path if you do it on a 36-month agreement. So for our test, we're going to go ahead and do a 12-month and leave it at 1. We're going to hit next. We give this a name, so I'll call this webinar demo. We can flip on international calling if we want it here, or that bursting, that hybrid Bree talked about. So we're buying one subscription call path, which will let us make or receive one call at a time, but we could turn on where we pay per minute to receive additional calls. So we're going to leave that off for now. Optionally, we can set, and we highly recommend, a default outbound caller ID. So in the event your PBX sends us a call ID that's not valid under the stir shaking law, we have to block that call or replace it with a valid caller ID. So you can come in here and give us a default. So we can say ClearlyIP 9203.33100. So in the event somehow your PBX sends us a call ID of your extension 100 when you make an outbound call, if you don't give us a default here, then we have to block that call from going out. If you give us a default, we'll replace that invalid caller ID with a valid one that you set here. So that's what this update invalid, or you can say update all calls. So no matter what you send us for call ID, we're always going to use what you said here. So up to you. Then you provide a location for this. Generally, we say it's where the PBX is located, which a lot of times people are like, well, it's in the cloud. So then our answer is, well, give us a primary address. Basically, we need an address for taxation. We have to run this through, taxation under U.S. laws and Canadian laws. We have to tax this. We have to know what jurisdiction to tax under. We'll hit next. From here, we can start buying phone numbers. So you can pick any country, U.S. or Canada. If you need phone numbers in other countries, maybe you need a UK number because you have a few customers who call you from the UK. You have to contact sales for that, and they can give you a quote. Our portal doesn't let you buy foreign numbers, just US and Canada or toll free today. So we'll pick United States and Wisconsin, then we can pick a city, and it'll come back with all the different numbers we have available. And you can start buying numbers. So I've added these two numbers to my store, to my checkout. If I decide I wanted a toll free, I could also come in and pick a toll free and add that. Or if I wanted in another state, maybe I wanted, let's just pick Alabama. And so as you know, you can just keep adding numbers. And once you have them all added, then we go to checkout. So I'm going to get rid of these other ones. We're going to hit next. And by the way, you can skip. You don't have to add phone numbers. So if you're going to be porting numbers to us, you can skip adding new numbers. So we'll hit next. You get a free 911 location with every call pass subscription location you create. We created a trunking location. We'll give you a default 911 for free. If you need additional addresses for like remote offices, you pay, I think they're 50 cents a month is MSRP for each additional location you need for 911. We give it a name and description for this 911 record. We set a caller name, so ClearlyIP. We set a default call ID and callback number that we'll send to the 911 operators. What your physical address is for 911, it takes whatever your default address is for your account. You can change this to be whatever you need. We'll hit verify to verify this is a legit 911 address. And it made a few little edits it didn't like, and then we can hit next. This is where we put in our credit card information. If you're a government agency or a large enterprise, we do issue credit terms, like 30-day credit terms. Otherwise, for most businesses, you'd be adding your credit card and it will charge your credit card every month. Agree to the terms of service, and we're done. So this is going to go create everything for us on the back end and activate the numbers. And at this point, we can go configure our PBX and start making phone calls. And we're finished. And we'll get a close button now. And if we go look under all these locations, we'll have a new one, webinar demo. And if we go view this location, we can see all the information about this location. So we can see the unique ID number, the account number, the name and description and address for taxation and what plan we're under month to month, what day of the month it's going to bill. This my account is set up for the 24th of every month. And of course, you can edit the address and the location name from here. Notice we have one call pass subscription. We don't have that metered enabled. So let's say we want to burst beyond that one. We can just flip on metered by clicking the button here. And it's going to give us 20 with this example, $500 a month limit. We can edit those limits. So we hit the pencil icon, adjust metered services. We can say, no, I only want 5 additional call pass, and I want my limit of $100 a month as exposure. So now we're going to allow 5 bursting calls at a time for $100 a month. And as we're using this credit, it'll show up here. Refresh to show the 100 now. It'll actually start decrementing here this $100, and we can see the balance. And we can even set notifications. So we can click the little bell, and under metered, we can say, every day, if I've exceeded more than 50% of that monthly limit, send an email address to me. And then it will just every day at midnight, if it's greater than 50% or greater than 70%, it'll send an email. We can enable fax. This is where we can buy our high and low volume fax services. These are the 4 redundant servers you can register to. All your inbound, outbound calling can route from any of these 4 servers. If we wanted additional call paths, we have this one that we bought. We can hit edit and change quantity, and we can buy, we want 2 instead. And it'll walk us through. Normally, there'd be a pricing, but my free account, there isn't. Otherwise, you'd see all the pricing here, and you just walk through the checkout process, and it would take you to 2 now, and you just bought additional call path. So everything's kind of self-serve right from our portal. On demand, you can do whatever changes you need. So we're not going to walk through everything. There's a lot of different things related to stir shaken, your SIP username, password. You can regenerate these credentials. You can enable port out protection, so somebody can't port your numbers out unless they know your PIN. So we've got port out PIN enabled, and we can view what our PIN is right from here. And we can change that PIN. That default outbound caller ID, this is where you can edit it if you want to change it ever. Down here, we can see all of our phone numbers. We can see all of our 911 information. So everything's very self-managed. With free PBX, one of the neat things, we're going to go do this. So we're going to go to locations. I'm going to go to this other test location I have because I have a bunch more information on it that I want. So we're going to go set this up on a free PBX system to show you how simple this is. With free PBX, we use this API token to configure everything. So we just come over here and we hit the little copy button, and I'll copy it to our clipboard. We come over to our free PBX system and we install the Clearly Trunking module that we have inside of free PBX. Paste in your token, hit submit. And this is going to go and connect it to that location, this PBX. So I connected it to my location that I call Tony Test Box. And now I can tell to auto configure my routes and trunks. But before I do that, I want to show you. If we go look right now in free PBX, there are no outbound routes. There are no trunks set up. And there are no inbound routes set up. So it's a blank box. So if we go back to our module here, we click this blue button, pick which of our DIDs is going to be our default caller ID. This is going to go create in free PBX now 4 trunks for redundancy automatically. And it's going to create our outbound routes. It's going to have a 911 route, our normal outbound route, and an international route. If we look at inbound routes, those are still blank. Now, if we go back to Clearly Trunking, and we did this is for outbound. If we go to number listing, it shows us all of the DIDs we have, and you'll notice route 2 is missing for all of them. So they're not set up on the PBX. If we hit the little magic blue button, again up here, it'll set up all of them in your inbound routes, and it's going to set them to route to this internal destination we call DID verification, which if you call this DID, any of this DID here or any of these, it's going to play back to you the DID you dialed and the caller ID that you called from. So it's just a nice way of verifying the numbers work. We go look in free PBX inbound routes, you'll see all 6 of these are inbound routes and the destinations. So once you're happy and you want to now go set up your routing, you pick a DID in free PBX, and you just, instead of Clearly Trunking, you just route it to, for example, extension 1001. So you can do this for each one of these, edit one at a time, or quicker under the Clearly Trunking module again, and under number listing, you can, under the route, you can just click here and pick where you want to route to. So you don't have to go edit every inbound route one at a time in free PBX. I don't have an IVR. We'll just pick another extension. So really simple to set up all your routing. When we're happy, hit our apply config and we're done. So we can set up the trunking inbound routes and outbound routes all in about 15 seconds just using that token. So very quick spin up and configuration for your PBX. So Bree, at this time, I think we'll open it up for questions. We're at our 45-minute mark.
Perfect.
So I'm being asked, how does 911 work? Okay, so we gotta wait for my box to reload and I can show everyone. So 911 with us is really simple. We do it all in the UI here. Come on. Slow down box. I shouldn't have hit apply config. Okay, and there's another question of, I see you talk about SMS. How does that work in free PBX? Okay, I'll hit both of those. So emergency listings will show us all of our different locations that we've set up for 911. So I happen to have 6 of them here. And what's really neat is all we do is we go to emergency device mapping. It shows a list of all of our extensions. And we say instead of using what the extension's caller ID is for 911, we just pick what office they're at, so Appleton, and then we pick from the drop down of locations. So we're literally just managing drop downs. And this is now managing what their 911 is. So if 1002 calls 911, it's going to use the callback. So what number 911 would call back to if they got disconnected is going to be the Appleton office, and we're going to out pulse the location of Appleton office 2nd floor. And Appleton office 2nd floor can be shown right here under dispatchable locations. Appleton office 2nd floor is 3255 West Highview Drive, 3rd floor, suite 301, whatever, just what I happen to call it. This one in the training room is 2nd floor, southeast, and training room. So that's what's going to be dispatched to the 911 operators, is whatever is defined here. And we just set that per user. How SMS works is once you've, so first you got to go through our portal and set up a campaign and a brand. So under all the new requirements for what wireless carriers to send SMS, everything flows under what's called 10 DLC or 10-digit long code. Bree's done some webinars on this. We have some great web pages on our website and our wiki about this. But once you've registered your brand and campaign with us through our portal, and you can then enable your phone numbers to have SMS. Once you've done that, you can come into free PBX, and for each DID under the SMS number listing, you can pick which users are allowed to send and receive SMSs for that number. And now that user can log into Clearly Anywhere, our mobile app, or Clearly Anywhere, our desktop app, or user control panel in free PBX, or if you're using Zulu or I think Sagoma Connect, anything that supports natively messaging into free PBX, our module will natively put all the messaging into free PBX, and then our Clearly Anywhere will read from that too. And now you can start sending and receiving SMS right through your phone system. As far as setting up 10 DLC, we're not going to walk through the whole thing, but it's pretty simple. Under messaging in our portal, you register a brand. There's a one-time fee of $8. You register a campaign. There's a monthly fee of $3 to $12 a month to register a campaign. And once you have your brand campaign set up, you just go to phone numbers and you link phone numbers to a campaign. So if we go look at this campaign here, we'll see it's got our numbers list linked to it. So it's pretty trivial and pretty easy to set up a campaign and brand and link your phone numbers to it. Okay, Bree, that seems to be it for Q&A.
Okay, great. I'm going to take over screen sharing again, if you don't mind, just to
all yours.
Awesome. Should be popping up here in 2 seconds. Able to see my screen?
All good, Bree.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I also want to mention that we've got a couple events coming up. We actually have another free PBX training class in our Wisconsin office. Tony will be there. I'm hoping to make a appearance. So that's going to be on June 20th. I think we've got a few spots left. So it'd be great to have you join us if you're looking for some formal training in a really fun environment, great networking on free PBX, which is one of the most I guess, is the most widely used globally open source platform for telephony. We also have another webinar on May 12th. So it's kind of around the return to work mandate and how soft phones can help that and what is the value in soft phones. So if you are interested in joining me on that one, we're going to review features, benefits, and cost savings of soft phones for both desktop and mobile, how to set them up and deploy. I would love to have you there May 12th, same time, and you can get registered on our clearlyip.com/events page. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tony, so much. Sorry to go over time here today. It happens.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.